Hey guys, welcome back to my Homebrew Wednesdays. This is episode number 3, and today I have a little bit of a grim story for you regarding something that happened to me the other day down here in my brew dungeon. And it's, you get out your tissues because you're going to need them. Can't believe I did this, but here's what happened. Sound like Casey Kasem. Anyway, I had brewed 2 batches of Cooper's IPA, and just to get ahead in my pipeline, I just wanted to get lots of beer going so I could let things age and do things right and maybe make some partials and things like that. I proceeded to clean out my keg. Now I have 2 kegs that I use on a regular basis. I've got other ones, but these are the 2 I use all the time. One of them is a secondary keg that I use periodically if I'm doing a batch that I want to age for a while or something extra, But normally it just sits there not being used. Now the last time I used that keg, I hit the bottom and I never cleaned it out. I just left it. And that was probably a couple months ago when it was finished. So the other day I had a batch of beer that I wanted to keg up. So I got my keg that I use on a regular basis and I cleaned it all out, sanitized it, got it all nice and ready. Proceeded to get the rest of my equipment. I put the lid on so nothing bugs got in there. I got all nice and sealed up, so it was ready to go. Got the rest of my stuff sanitized and ready to go. And then I proceeded to siphon my beer into the keg. And just before I was going to force carbonate it, I turned around, and behind me was an empty keg. The one that I just cleaned out was the empty keg. In other words, I just siphoned 4.5 gallons of beer into a keg that was never cleaned since last time it was used. My initial reaction was total facepalm, just, oh my God. In fact, there might have even been 2 hands involved in this one. I couldn't believe it. Can you imagine? What would you do? What would, that? I couldn't believe it. Oh, there goes my water heater. Anyways, so the good news is, this beer has been through hell. First of all, it didn't start fermenting until 24 hours later. And I had to pitch a second batch of yeast to get it to go. And I had to put a heat belt on it to boost the temperature to get this process happening quickly so we wouldn't get infections. And which we may have still, I don't know. So that was the worst part. And then it's being siphoned onto a batch of beer that was, an empty keg, basically, that had never been cleaned since last time. Now, the good news, if there is any in this story, is that keg had never been opened since the last time it had beer in it. So it had that little bit of beer in the bottom with some trub down there, but it still had CO2 on it. It was never opened. It was still sealed, and presumably, I hope, sanitized inside there. How long can you let a little bit of beer sit in a keg? I don't know. So, after contemplating just tossing it down the drain, I decided to give it a chance. So I purged it, and I, didn't carbonate it because I don't want to waste a little bit of CO2 that I've got left carbonating a beer that's going to taste like shit, right? What we're going to do today is we're going to decide whether this beer gets poured out or salvaged. I don't know what you guys would do, but it pains me to pour out, 4.5 gallons of beer when there's a chance it might not actually be that bad. After all it's been through, I've got a little sample glass here. I'm actually quite afraid to do this because I'm not really one for off smells and odors and things. And as a matter of fact, you should have seen me when I used to change my kids' diapers when they were babies. I just couldn't stand it. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't handle it. But, let's take this flat, uncarbonated, mistreated beer and give it a try and see if we're going to toss it or if we're going to keep it. Here we go. Oh, why is it carbonated? I didn't carbonate it. That's not a good sign. That means there's been some fermentation going on in there. That could mean infection. Or maybe maybe it was still fermenting when I kegged it. It's possible. It just smells like aluminum. It smells very tinny. I don't know. Let's try it. The thought of it being sitting on the top of that old beer in there. You know, it's not bad, really. It's not clean. It's not as clean as it should be. It's dirty. There's esters in there. There's weird shit in there. I can taste some banana flavor. Now, it's not carbonated, so I mean, you know, maybe once it's carbonated, it'll get better. It's not infected yet, because you know that could happen. At this point, I'm not going to discard the beer. I'm going to salvage it. I know that some of you wouldn't do that. You would probably just chuck it out. And, you know, it only cost me 20 bucks to make. You're not, you know, 3/4 of an hour. But I don't think it's worth pouring it out. Not too bad. Not too bad. We'll see what happens when we carbonate it. Anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Well, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. And hopefully I'll see you on Friday on JTV. Cheers, and I guess I'll give it the respect that it deserves after what I've put it through. And we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Another Homebrew Wednesday is in the can. Cheers.